Lunches like this is how I stayed full all day long while losing 110 pounds and enjoyed it because this is delicious. This lunch is what I call the Satiety Sponge. It's insanely healthy, insanely filling. This is over 1 pound of food and it's less than 200 calories. It's half of your daily need of fiber. This is a meal for lunch or dinner that honestly, your body couldn't stay hungry after eating. You are full and provides with so much more than just being full. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a bit. Let me show you how to make it. My God. Okay, first things first, the mushrooms. We are going to be using about 300 grams of these large Portobello mushroom. Now I'm actually going to remove the stem. I'm gonna weigh everything so that way I have an accurate recipe and I can give you accurate nutrition in the end. I'm gonna add everything into my calorimeter app so you can see how many calories this is at the end, but it's gonna be wild. So 2 of these Portobello mushroom caps. I'm just gonna quickly wipe these off. That's all I'm gonna do with a damp towel. And then before we slice them, I'm gonna get a pan on the heat, getting it warmed up. And I do recommend a non-stick pan for this because we're not gonna be using any oil. This whole thing is just going to be wild. So I'm just gonna slice these portobellos up. Now you can use any mushroom. King oyster mushroom, which is one of my favorites. They're a little bit harder to come by. That's the reason why I didn't go with that in today's recipe. They actually have a little bit lower calories and more protein. And there is also more of the chitling. We're gonna be doing a little bit of chitling chemistry today. Chitling is the fiber-like substance that is in mushrooms that is going to make this recipe work the way that it works for your body. 92% of this mushroom here is water. The rest of it is that chitling and protein, and it's like a fiber, like a sponge almost, and you'll see. So I'm gonna take these mushrooms, we're gonna throw them in the pan, we're gonna cover them with a big pinch of salt. In the past, I've talked about boiling them, but that is specifically for like flavor. This is gonna be more about the density of it, and we're gonna add some flavor in later. But for now, throw these in a pan, cover them with salt, let them cook on the heat until they are completely release all of their water. You want to cook them until the pan is dry. It's gonna be about 10 minutes or so, which is plenty of time for today's sponsor. Gang, I know you get on me about my recipes. I do my best to get them on the website. But even when I do get them there, I know how hard it is to organize your favorite recipes. And that's why I wanted to tell you about today's sponsor, Sesame. Sesame is the world's most popular recipe organizer. And that's because it's insanely simple to organize your recipes. You can import recipes from Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, Facebook, Google, and even my website. I just click share on my phone, share to the Sesame app, and boom, there it is. And then with Sesame, you can create grocery lists with a single tap, organize your recipes into your own cookbook collections, and even add recipes to your weekly meal planner, making meal planning a breeze. So gang, you gotta check out Sesame. You are going to love this app. Click the link in the description below and you'll get a 2-week free trial. Sesame, thanks for sponsoring today's video and for making saving all of my favorite recipes so much easier. Now, the salt's job is to draw some of this moisture out. It's also going to flavor it, but this is gonna take a minute. While we're doing this, let's prepare the next part of this recipe. All of this is going to be about density, adding volume. Cucumbers are fantastic at that. This is one of my favorite recipes. For this, I just have 1 English cucumber. Let me weigh it really quick. 258 grams of a cucumber. And then for the cucumber, really, what we're gonna do, I'm just gonna kind of chop it into 3 sections here. And then we're just gonna smash it until it splits, kind of like that, yeah. I'm gonna shoot the seeds all over the place. Just kind of tear and break at the splits. See? Now, normally for this type of recipe, you would use like a Parisian cucumber, a little bit more crunchy, but most grocery stores, what you're gonna find are these like English cucumbers. You might find the minis. If you have the minis at your grocery store, pick those up. So you can see this is all that's left here. I'm gonna toss these into a bowl. I'll add a little bit of the liquid here, all those seeds and stuff, that's all okay. Now to the cucumbers, I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of rice vinegar. Mushrooms are still sauteing, see? Still liquid on them. Now this is the most caloric part, but we're gonna add a teaspoon of your favorite chili crisp, teaspoon toasted sesame seeds. This is gonna get you some good fats and flavor. I love the flavor. And then we just talked about this stuff last week, allulose. Normally this type of cucumber recipe has like a sugar in it. We're not gonna be using that. We're gonna be using the 0-calorie sweetener. Now we don't need much. I'm gonna be using maybe 1/4 of a teaspoon. And we'll just mix this up. Now, the cool thing is you can actually prep a decent amount of this if you want to, because this will last 3 or 4 days and it will just kind of keep getting better. But I'm gonna be eating this whole thing for this lunch. So the mushrooms have stopped sizzling. They are pretty much dry on the bottom of the pan. Let's leave them there for just a minute. We're gonna make our broth, which is just going to be a little bit of water, not much. You can see a little bit less than a tablespoon. We're gonna be doing, it's 10 milliliters of soy sauce. Now I am gonna weigh this out. I want around 10 grams of nutritional yeast, which is about 2.5 tablespoons. Give that a good swirl. And now we're just going to pour this right onto our mushrooms, turn the heat down low, cover it up and let it simmer for just a few more minutes. This is gonna suck everything up in here. The next thing that's up is kale. This is going to be the base, what everything lives on. We need 100 grams of kale. We're gonna use this as like a mop to soak up all of the remaining broth that's left. You'll see, it's gonna be insane. And I'm also gonna be using the juice of a lemon. Look at that. Those mushrooms soaked up most of that liquid. That is so crazy. Isn't that that is so nuts how much liquid these things soaked up. So now we're just gonna toss the kale in right away and a little bit of water. Let's get some of the lemon juice in here. Little minced garlic, and kind of mop up that remaining bit. I'm just gonna chop up some green onion real quick. And let's get ready to plate. This is crazy easy. God, I'm so stoked about this. Boom. So we're just gonna drop our kale into the bowl. Like I said, that picked up a ton of that mushroom flavor, just like that. Now I don't necessarily want all the liquid from the cucumber, so I'm gonna try to just drop these on as evenly as I can without the water. Love that. I mean, this is crazy. This is so, I mean, this bowl is huge. Just gonna toss our mushrooms right on top. Another little pinch of nutritional yeast, green onion, a little more of the sesame seeds. Gosh, I mean, look at that. Unbelievable. This is a huge bowl. 191 calories, 12 grams of protein, 6 grams of fat, and 26 grams of carbohydrates. But out of that 26 grams of carbohydrates, 13 of those are from fiber. So this one bowl is pretty much 50% of your fiber. And it's going to fill you up like crazy. And this is insane. It was so good. The cucumbers are perfect, super crunchy with a spice, and the kale with the lemon rounds it out. This is phenomenal. Now, there's so many things about this, like the rice vinegar, which is shown to possibly help blunt blood sugar response by up to 30%. When you're eating carbs, this kind of buffers any sort of insulin spike, which you're not getting a whole lot of carbs from this anyways. Kale is an insoluble fiber, which kind of helps slow down digestion, helps you get more of those micronutrients, but also helps keep a meal that would typically keep you full for 2 or 3 hours, keeping you full for, 5, 6 hours. And with the mushrooms, they kind of trick your brain into making you believe you're eating a heavy protein, which again is another thing that stops the hunger feeling. Now, there are many recipes you can make that are like sponges with calories and kind of fill your gut with a lot of food for a very, very low amount of calories. And when you're first trying to lose weight, things like this end up being a pretty big deal. It might seem like an odd combination, but I'll tell you, once you put it all together, it's phenomenal. So when I first started losing weight and I was looking for foods that were very low in calorie, very high in density, this was something that I would make. You should give it a try. That is good.